Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well today. Today, like I said yesterday, I think we will do a Memorial Day bonus. Since we've done them all weekend, we might as well just continue in memory of all of the fallen men and women who have given their lives for our lives. Before we get into today's midday bonus, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below. Merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss any of the exciting and informative uploads I put out, click that bell icon. And finally, please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go, and they do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's midday bonus, shall we? Before we jump into the encounters, I broke down the section of video where I was up where Tom Mesick disappeared, and as I'm walking, I stop and say something about the mosquitoes and then talk about where I'm heading. I'm looking straight ahead and I see this large black thing run across the trail in front of me and go down into the ravine. Apparently a few people couldn't see it, and I did put a timestamp in. So what I did was I blocked the area where the creature is. You can see it's there, it moves, that's gone, and then there's nothing in that area. I know what I saw yesterday, and I've shown a couple of people that, you know, my daughter's boyfriend, my dad was actually told me not to go up there anymore, and I was like, I have to. I don't know why, but anyway, here's that video clip, and then right after that, some very tragic encounters. All right, so we're coming up to it. So there's the video clip of what booked it across the trail. I hope you guys have an easier time seeing it with the red box. Once again, I mean, I wish there were people with me to, you know, I wish everyone that's seeing the video could have been there with me. So I could have seen other people's kind of demeanor, you know. It really was a fear heightening experience, to be honest with you. It was, I don't even know, really interesting. Was it a dogman? I don't know. Was it a Bigfoot? I don't know. I know it wasn't a coyote because it was way too big to be a coyote. Could it have been a bear? It might have been a bear. Either way, a bear crossing the trail that close to me is terrifying as well. So anyway, here's some very tragic encounters that do end in tragedy. Check them out. Today's first Dogman encounter.
In Elkhorn, Montana, in the year of 1998, a small dairy farmer named Scott woke up one March morning to go out and do his chores. When he went out to get the cows ready for milking, he noticed they were acting abnormal. They seemed jumpy and afraid. He finally got them into the barn and into the stanchions and ready for milking, but they barely produced any milk at all. He knew something was wrong and watched them all day. As the day progressed, they seemed to calm down. He chalked it up to a neighborhood dog harassing them. The night passes, and the next morning he wakes up. The cows were once again in a panic, and 2 of his prize bovines were dead with their bellies slashed open and their organs strewn about. It appeared something with long claws had done it. They also were just killed and did not appear to have been eaten. He then contacted the police. The police said they would check the area and blamed it on a mountain lion or a bear. He knew it wasn't any of these. Night settles in and he waits outside with his rifle. The night moves on and he hears the grass rustle, thinking he was going to see a dog or possibly a mountain lion. What he does see rising out of the field is a hulking monster, at least 6 feet tall. He describes it as a cross between a man and a wolf, with a human body and a wolfish head, glowing red eyes, a broad forehead, and a long snout with huge teeth protruding out of it. A massive chest and muscular arms, long hanging past its knees, with sharp claws at the end. Huge paws where its feet should be, but no tail. The creature took a step towards him, and Scott took aim and put a bead on its head. According to folks who knew him, he was an amazing shot. When he fired, the Dogman moved quickly and let out a yelp that he described sounded like a hurt dog. The bullet ripped through the creature's bicep, and the beast fled into the field on 4 legs. The Dogman came back throughout the year, but not every night. Scott then started to stay up at night and sleep during the day. He diligently protected his cows and farm. His friends were concerned with his health and safety and thought he was getting plagued by a deformed bear. Scott's body was found lifeless between the barn and house, face down. Long claw marks along his body, and his legs were slashed to pieces. Some of the surviving cows also had deep gashes on their body as well. Police found prints that resembled canine but were over 6 inches across. The police closed the case and labeled his death caused by a apparent bear attack. Tonight's second encounter was sent to me from a subscriber. At the time of my encounter, I had just purchased a house in Phillipsburg, New Jersey. May 5th, 2017, off exit 3 on Route 78, 5 minutes from Pennsylvania. My job at the time was 90 minutes away in Hackensack, New Jersey. I worked for a Home Depot at the time, 5 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. One day, early in November 2017, I was making my way to work. I left the house around 3:15, making my way to Route 78 eastbound, which is about 5 minutes from my house. Once on 78, I was in the fast lane, traveling about 75 miles an hour. At the time, I was driving a 2010 Chrysler Sebring. So I was about 50 feet behind a pickup truck who suddenly came to a stop. So I slammed on my brakes, swerving into the middle lane. Just as I clipped this dog on the right side of my bumper, never lost a stride. It looked like a dark brown German Shepherd, 4 feet tall and on all fours. I rolled my window down to see if it was okay, and then it turned around and stepped onto the pavement. The pickup truck already peeled out, so when it started approaching me, I took off too. The next week, I got rid of that car and bought an SUV. A month and a half later, strange things started happening around my house. Tapping on my kitchen window, light scratches on the siding. It had been going on for every day for about a couple of weeks. Then one night, I was up late, about 11 in the night, doing dishes. I had a feeling I was being watched. When I looked out the window, I saw two amber eyes, leveled with me, looking at me, standing outside of my window. I got so scared my legs gave out on me. I couldn't move and I couldn't scream. I didn't own a gun at the time, so I started leaving my house with a 24-inch sword with jagged edges for sawing things. One day I was running late for work and it was raining heavily outside. I didn't leave my house until about 3:45 and I left my sword in the house. I was rushing to my car as I felt this primal fear come over me, so I turned around and the same dog that I hit a few months back was standing 20 yards from me. Me a few feet from my car and my sword in the house, I knew I wasn't gonna make it. I'm paralyzed with fear as it slowly approached me and stopped about 10 feet from me. As if I wasn't already terrified, it did something that would push my fear to its limits. It stood up on two legs, 8 feet tall, as I felt like a 5-year-old child looking up at an adult. I'm a retired bodybuilder, and its muscles definitely would make Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime look like the Nutty Professor. I was terrified and astonished at the same time, me being a retired bodybuilder and witnessing the perfect physique. I estimated its weight at 600 to 650 pounds. He looked at me like, "Don't forget what you did, I'm here for my payback." Then emitted a light growl that rumbled in my chest. Then he showed me its razor-sharp teeth and I soiled myself. Then it got about 5 feet and growled. I dropped to my knees and was praying that my death was quick. I looked to my left where the street was, and a patrol vehicle was making its rounds about 150 feet away. Yes, I'm safe. No, he never stopped. I'm crying now, and it was enjoying every moment of it. I was at its mercy, and it knew it. The patrol vehicle made its way back and hit the Dogman with its spotlight. It looked over to the cop and me and gave me an impression. I think I made my point. Jumped on my roof, went through my back, and took off in the direction of the woods, which would be a quarter of a mile away. And one thing I forgot to mention. There are houses everywhere. The cop exited his vehicle with his gun drawn. "Sir, are you okay?" "What the fuck was that? Do you need medical attention?" I responded, "No, I don't, and I don't know what that was." A month later, after I purchased my house, I installed surveillance cameras around my house. Didn't remember until a couple of days after my encounter. The whole encounter was recorded. However, government agents knew that and seized my DVR, but not until I backed up a copy to a flash drive. It's been 2 years since this encounter, and I feel like I'm still under surveillance. If you have any further questions, I'll do my best to answer. You know I asked a couple of questions. First question. When you said you feel like you're under surveillance, by whom? The government or the Dogman? Second, how did the police officer act? His answers. The police officer ended up calling medical services for me. I was in a trance-like state it took me 15 to 20 minutes to come out of. So he came to the hospital to question me after I regained my senses. He said when he first drove by, he saw 2 people in his peripheral. As he got further away, he played these images in his head. When he realized the size difference wasn't normal, that's why he turned around and headed back towards me. As he approached, he thought he was looking at a Bigfoot until he saw a tail and a muzzle. He said he didn't have enough firepower on him to engage it. He was relieved that it decided to leave. His description of the Hulk with a wolf's head. He reported what he saw to his superior, and a couple of days later, plainclothes agent showed up at my house, questioned me profusely, and demanded access to my DVR and said what I saw was a bear that wandered into town and it'll be in my best interest not to tell anyone. I would see blacked out SUVs on the corner of my street for about a month, and every now and then they would drive by. What they didn't realize is 4 hours prior to them showing up, I backed up some footage on my DVR and USB. The government is well aware of these creatures, and they are tracking them, because a few nights after the incident, a black helicopter flying over the woods for 2 days. Wow, guys. What did I tell you? Now, the first encounter is just one of the encounters shared with me by the police officer. There has been a couple of deaths throughout history that have been hidden from us, erased from history, and I have a couple of them. Like I said, they were given to me through email and a couple of phone calls, so I'm trying to get them exactly how I heard them so you guys can hear them that way. But just an amazing encounter, you know. I mean, this poor man is a small dairy farmer and just protecting his land and his animals, and he loses his life for his livelihood. Just amazing story. Saddening, but amazing. And the last encounter, you guys know that my last email to this guy was, can I have that flash drive? Or can you send me a copy? I'm still waiting for it to come to me. And the second it does, if it does, you know you guys will have it. And you guys will be watching it.
All right, guys, some very terrifying encounters that have some tragic endings. Wow. Anyway, guys, I hope everyone is enjoying their Memorial Day weekend. If you guys are at a party today or a picnic or whatever, please be responsible. I'd hate to lose anybody to drinking and driving or whatnot. And, you guys mean the world to me. The support that you guys give means the world to me. So please stay safe, happy, healthy, and God bless you all.